Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, one and all, come take a ride on the lunatic train headed for Crazy Town. Now, I know that most of the time I come on here on usually Fridays, and just talk to you for a minute, bring you some good news. But unfortunately, that's not going to be the case today. So I want you to strap in because you're about to face the nihilistic holocaust that is a weekend without a chipper start from yours truly. But don't worry, your spirits can perhaps be lifted at least a little by the comical outer skin of the buffoonery on tap for the item we're going to visit today. In the great state of New Mexico, the Democrats are proposing legislation that would force home builders going forward to equip every home with solar panels and charging stations for electric vehicles. Now, the obvious and immediate backlash to this idea comes, of course, from the bottom line. This is going to be expensive in a housing market that's already shown itself to be a bit of a bridezilla-level, spoiled little rich girl for the American economy. And while Democrats in New Mexico are admitting that it will raise the cost of building homes a little, they believe that the additional cost will be offset by lower energy bills going forward. And hey, that sounds pretty nice if you've taken the necessary steps to obtain a safe and legal lobotomy and are no longer capable of rational and critical thinking. But for the rest of us, well, not so much. After all, the assumption on the part of these legislators is no doubt that having charging stations at every home is going to give blanket encouragement to homeowners to possess electric vehicles. Now, leave aside for a moment the fact that there's not a chance in hell the electric company doesn't find a way to make sure you pay as much for charging your car as you do gassing it up. The other and deeper problem is that we don't presently have the grid infrastructure to handle everyone or even most of everyone switching over to electric cars, which means that we're going to have to build that additional infrastructure. And who does the cost for that get passed on to? Well, you, the consumer. And in fact, it'll no doubt be subsidized by billions and billions of tax dollars, so you're going to get the business and the other end at the same time. Welcome to the life of a shish kebab. Now, having the option to include these things and making it mandatory are horses of an entirely different color. I would want to have those options available to me if I were building a house there, but I don't want the government, who are warped and incompetent at most things they mandate anyway, I don't want them getting involved or telling me what I can and cannot do with my own property. It's the same level of BS bureaucratic nonsense that undergirds things like occupational licensing and excessive zoning regulations. And let's not forget, it's not as if solar panels and or charging stations can't be installed at some future point should you, the homeowner, decide you want them. Look, I know this seems like a minor problem in a single state that isn't likely to affect you, but if you think that you're wrong, if you think that, you are definitely wrong. It already does affect you because what's being changed here isn't just rules and regulations, it's also hearts and minds. Look, I don't want to cling to outdated ways of doing things any longer than I have to. Hell, I'm looking forward to fusion technology growing out of its infancy and replacing all these other power types. But in the meantime, we've got to keep sane, and we've got to keep our thumbs on the kind of lawmakers who want to exert excessive controls, which is to say, of course, pretty much all of them. I love you. God bless.